What's the point? What's the point? That's our question today. And I'm asking it not in a cynical way, as in, what's the point of anything that we're doing or whatever the situation might be? But what's the point for us? What's the point? So there are a couple questions we ask ourselves to get clear on the point. The first is, what do you want? And for different people, that might be very different things. I've had people want to start a business. I've had people want to advance their career, go after a certain job, change careers, move into new industries, move into new places, move to a new city. I worked with a client who that was really her dream, was to move to a new city, and we worked together over time to get her from where she was to where she wanted to go. So we want to talk about the point. What do you want? Remember last week we said that the whole aligned process is about aligning who you are, and where you want to go. So what do you want, right? If it's any of the things that I talked about, if it's $1 million, if it's to lose 20 pounds, if it's to gain 20 pounds. I spent a good part of my earlier life when I was playing football trying to gain 20 pounds. But whatever it might be for you, let's get clear on what that thing is. What's that thing I'm going to see? What's success? What's it look like? And when we talk about it, we don't necessarily just talk about making this amount of money with the business. We want to get into a real vision. What's going to really get you there? What's it smell like? What's it sound like? What's it feel like to be there? Right? What do you some people, we get in the granular level of, what are you having for breakfast? How are you spending your time? Are you working out? When are you working out? What kind of workouts are you doing? What's your work day look like? How much time are you spending talking to people? How much time are you spending in front of your computer or your laptop? How much time are you spending in your car? We want to get very clear on where we're going. What do you want? Okay, and that's a question for you to ask yourself. And I want to be clear. What do you want is not what society tells me, and you know that part, and other people tell you that part, but it's not what your parents tell you, or what your spouse tells you, or what that super ego voice in the top of your head that swirled all that together tells you you should want. No, what do you actually want? We want to get very clear on that, and what it looks like, and what it's going to be like. Where are we going? And then the other part of where you want to go, of the point, is, why do you want it? Now I'm going to give you a little bit of an explanation on that to really make sure you get that part. The why isn't, well, I want $1 million, so I'll have $1 million. No, I mean, I'm sure for many of the people who might be watching this video, and to me, $1 million sounds better than not $1 million, so that's cool. But when we talk about it, what we're really talking about, why do you want it, is, what's the emotional experience you expect to accompany your what? So we might both want that $1 million, and I'll just go ahead and use that as a little example, a fun example, something that most people can at least wrap their mind around, that being a goal. We might both want that $1 million, but you might want it for a sense of security, and I might want it for a sense of power. And so our strategies would necessarily be different because of the experience that we're looking to have once we have the $1 million. Somebody else might want a sense of adventure, right? So if, when we're trying to figure out how to get to $1 million, somebody says, let's rob a bank. Whoa, if you're in it for security, no thank you, right? If you're in it for adventure, maybe so. I'm not recommending robbing banks. As a matter of fact, I'd recommend against robbing banks. But you get my point, right? You get my point. The experience that we want to have along with our what, right? And you know what I'm talking about. Because at the end of the day, that sweatshirt you needed, or that jacket you needed, or that pair of sneakers you needed when you were in 10th grade that was going to set everything right and everything was going to be fine and you were going to be what you wanted to be, it wasn't about those sneakers and it wasn't about that sweatshirt. It never was. It was about the feeling you were going to have. What did the sweater, the sweatshirt, the sneakers mean? What did the car mean? What did the house mean to you? What was the experience you expected to have along with your what? And when we get clear on that, we avoid something that you've heard of before, and that's called an empty victory. When we get our what without our why, that is the definition of an empty victory. We get there and it's so what, right? Some of you may have gotten into the school you wanted to get into. You get there and 2 weeks later, so what, right? We don't want so what. And if you want to know what that empty victory looks like, if you want to understand the stakes there, I want you to think of some pop culture examples of people who got their what without their why. I want you to think about Whitney Houston and what that looked like. To get all that what, to have all that what and not the why, not the experience that she was looking for. I want you to think about Michael Jackson. I want you to think about Kurt Cobain. I want you to think about Amy Winehouse. I want you to think about all these people we watched get all that what and not get their why. And I want you to understand that I don't want that experience for you. I'm going to put it in that plain a way. So we want to get our what and our why. If the what is the street that we're heading to really get specific. If I want you to come to my house, I could tell you the street I live on. But if I want to make sure that you get right to where I am, I'm also going to give you the cross street. Our why is the cross street. $1 million, that's fine, but power, success, adventure, these are our cross streets. And if we can get clear, then we'll make sure that we're navigating ourselves to the exact intersection where we want to live, where we want to be, where we want to exist. So we'll want to make sure that we're paying attention to our why. Why do you want it? So I want you to ask yourself those questions, and that might be in the context of right now we're all sheltered in place and figuring out what life is going to look like. It might be about figuring out how you're going to do your job from where you are. It might be about finding a new job. It might be about figuring out what to do with your life having been impacted directly or indirectly by COVID, what life's going to look like going forward, and whether having a job is even an option, whatever the case might be. You might be thinking about what you want life to look like post sheltering in place. You might 5-10 years from now, whatever that what is, get clear on it. Whatever that what is, get clear on it, and then get clear on your why. That is missing from so much I watch people do around goal setting, whether it's for themselves or in many systems that I've looked at and studied and paid attention to. Don't get caught there. We don't want empty victories. We want fulfilling victories. We want enriching victories. We want the kind of victories that when we get to the point, when we get to that thing, we have that experience we expected, that we are so excited, we are so revved up, we are so ready to go to turn the point into a whole new starting point. Not getting into starting points today. You gotta come back and watch the next video and I'll talk about starting point. But I want you to be clear. What do you want? Why do you want it? What's the experience you want to have? Take some time. Think about it. Write it down. Share it with someone you trust. Put it in the comments. Let's have a conversation. I'll jump in there. I'll get in there with you. But I want you to reach the point in your life, in your day, in your week, in your month, in your year, in your life. I want you to reach the point. So when you open your eyes tomorrow morning and the morning after that, when you are tired in the middle of that afternoon slump, when you are figuring out as you go to bed what you're setting your mind on, I want you to have the point. I want you to open your eyes in the morning, and when you ask the question, what's the point? I want you to have a whole new kind of answer. The kind of answer that gets you to put your feet down on the floor, get up and get going, even if that going is to a desk that's across your bedroom. You want something that's going to truly inspire you. What's the point? I can give you this framework of what it is, but only you know what the point is for you in this moment in your life. And I want to help you get there. What's the point? Let's have a conversation. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Communicate with each other. Tell a friend. Doesn't matter to me how you get there, long as you get there. And I'll see you next time.